And we're live.
I'm nervous. First thing they hear.
Every time. All right.
I try to cheat on... Go ahead. Just hit it. Just hit it.
You're listening to Thunderheads, a podcast for Thunder fans by Thunder fans.
Welcome to Thunderheads. If you're tuning into YouTube Live, we are psyched to have you. I am Brandon Soul, joined the Thunder Time himself, Mr. Justin Wright.
So tomorrow I'm taking me fishing. Hang a sign on the door of my life.
Yep. I don't got it.
They're so hard sometimes.
Yeah, they're supposed to be.
Are you sure? Because sometimes they're easy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. living part of life. Living kind of life. Sorry, that's Eric Church.
Is there a fishing thing here because the Paul George that we're gonna get into today? And
Yes.
Okay. Doctor's in the house. Rob Larson.
Scared money don't make none.
I get that reference.
Yeah.
I get that one.
I don't know who's saying. it. But
Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
Dark and Stormy's in the house, but he's in a weird spot today.
Yes, sir.
You're over in the corner.
Yep.
How's it feel over there?
I'm over here, guys.
Yeah.
Who's
No,
over?
I just said that.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel like I can't move at all.
Yeah, you don't look like you
I'm
can.
gonna knock over
Are you
everything.
comfortable though? Or-
That's not bad.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad.
Is the camera working? Can the folks
Yeah,
see you?
they can see me right here, and now I'm going to go away.
Okay, cool. And then if you're wondering who's sitting where Jason usually sits, he's been on the podcast before. It's been about a year. He's waving at the camera right now.
I am.
I think
I'm a
he's.
pro.
I don't know. Is that professional? We got to start doing that.
Yeah, I like that too. That's the little, the queen
The
wave.
queen wave?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
All
can-
at the wrist.
Yes.
You can hear him every single day on 107.7 The Franchise in Tulsa. What's the station in Tulsa?
It's 107.9 in Tulsa.
107.9
Yeah.
Tulsa, just
Very close.
0.2 off. It's plus 0.2.
Well, that's the degrees and the turnpike. That's
There it
what
is.
Yeah, that takes care
That
of
makes sense. That
so.
makes sense. His show's called The Franchise Players. Kelly Gregg and Gabe Eichert. You can hear stuff like this.
He'll have a little bit more wiggle room after this mortgaged year, and we'll see what happens from there. But I don't think it's...
Look, I'll tell you what's
it's
going to
not
happen there.
Sacramento.
He doesn't even have a first-round pick next year, does he? Isn't it the 76ers?
Not yet, he doesn't. We don't
What
know.
assets you have?
I
You going to
see-
trade Westbrook or Steven Adams?
They had Cameron Payne. They had
And that worked
Kenneth
out great.
Cannon.
How'd McDermott do here?
I'm just saying. They
I got
flipped
you.
it into something.
Yeah.
I have no problem with thinking the president can flip it into something
Hey,
because of
Christine.
the mortgaged year.
Does Jerry have Thunder team player on the back of his shirt?
yes, Thunder
Is that-
glasses
That's
on.
fine.
I think that's a good way. That's a good way to win over our fans immediately. Defending the Thunder
I like it.
while, defending yourself while you're a co-host there.
That
You're
was
arguing.
600 pounds of defending, too.
Yeah.
That was Sam Mays and Kelly Gregg and Rufus Alexander's on the side there. So that's damn near 900 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm going toe-to-toe with them. Telling them,
By the way, this man is Jerry Ramsey. Do you
Suck
at
it,
least
dude.
have glass?
absolutely. I wouldn't
okay.
talk to
I was
those people
gonna
like that.
I was gonna say, you gotta at least have something protecting
Yeah,
you there.
hell no, I'm not going to talk to them like that. Yes, so Jerry Ramsey, TV's Jerry on Twitter.
That's right.
But you know.
Yeah.
You already know.
We'll get to that. All right, today, Paul George has opted out of his contract. Melo has not. Instead, he's gloating on social media. LeBron is texting KD. Presti drafted 3 straight MVPs. All of this is today. But first, free agency is upon us. Guys, part 2 of the Paul George special came out today. We all watched it. After part 1, kind of left us hanging. We don't know what to feel. I think the general consensus, right, when they announced that this was going to be a thing was, oh no, this isn't a good sign for the Thunder, right? Would you agree with that, Jerry?
No, I absolutely looked at it and I thought, this is so Hollywood. Oh, crap. Where's that at?
Right.
Yep.
That's where he wants to go. Part 1 comes out. Not much to take away from it, I don't think. Now today, I think there's a little bit of a different story, a little different feel. Kind of feels like Thunder fans. If you haven't watched today, you can watch it now. You can get on YouTube. You can go watch it. You can get on ESPN.com, wherever you can watch it. We tweeted it out, I think. People are starting to get optimistic. There's been growing reports. People are believing that Paul George is returning to the Thunder. Are you buying this?
He's coming back. He's coming back, Jerry. I can't hold it in. Go ahead, Jerry. I don't want to interrupt.
you're fine.
Go ahead.
You know what? They're doing their job. ESPN's doing their job. They're putting the narrative together. Listen, real quick thing. I watch a bunch of Real Housewives shows with my wife. Okay? If you're married 10 years, you know what I'm talking about. You have to. This stuff is all set up like that. Like with the Dwayne Wade, first of all, he's hawking his wine.
Yeah.
Oh, you see
Yeah.
my wine? You got to sniff it me out. Way to go. Aren't you?
Look at this carafe.
I saw it sideways too, Dwayne. But still, just, that whole thing is set up where it's supposed to take you on the roller coaster of a 7-minute movie that all you can watch. So I don't know. That they're doing a really good job of staying vague. Paul George is getting what he wants. He's like, a guy who's trapped inside of himself. It's like a teenage film. Whenever you get teenagers that do their whole, life is so hard and whatever. I think that's what's going on right now. I'm not reading a damn thing into it except for the Dwayne Wayne wine. That's the only thing I took away.
Here's the thing, though, for me is, I feel like they could have kept it, very generic, even more so than they kind of did. But whenever you include Sam Presti in the way that they did, it wasn't just that they had because the first part one, they mentioned that, it's not lost on PG, how big of a risk that, that Presti took, that the Thunder took on bringing him in, But
I'm a big Tribe Called Quest fan.
Whenever you do it, the second episode, there was a lot of Presti in that in that part. Part 2, there was a lot of Presti in that. So that to me was really the biggest, I don't know, kind of takeaway besides from what, Paul George actually said, but the fact that they incorporated Sam Presti so much, I thought was really good.
That can only be a good sign, right? Yeah. Why? It seems strange, and maybe it's important to look at it from the other side, and maybe that's what I need to do. But it seems strange to have Sam Presti in your little documentary, and then just be like, "Nah, I'm out."
But immediately afterwards, the agent, Big Brother, whatever you want to call him, his buddy, his pal, says that, Oklahoma City wouldn't even gotten a sit down if it wasn't for the trade. So it's, I think that immediately negates, and plus, and this being in Oklahoma City media, I know this for sure. When they say we're going to give you Sam Presti for 10, 15 minutes, you take it. I don't care what the hell he's talking about. Right. I think he was on our morning show and talked about drumming for 5 minutes.
Yeah, the only thing with that is that I guess I just started thinking it through. And what if is there any chance that this thing could be set up by the Thunder? If he's already made his decision. If he's already made a decision, they say, let's do this whole thing. Let's get you out there where it's not just some under the radar, I'm staying in Oklahoma City. Let's make it a thing. They rolled out the red carpet for him when he got to Oklahoma City. They've tried to shine this big, bright light on Paul George, making him making him a star, not the backup star to Russell Westbrook, not the Robin to his Batman, but we want you to be the co-Batman. I don't know. This could be looking too far into things, could be too conspiracy-y, but there's something here, I feel like.
It definitely follows we're changing our perception mindset that Oklahoma City's kind of had. Once Paul George got here, it's hey, you know what? Maybe we were too tight on what you could say and how available our players were. Maybe that's something that they do, but that's going out a little bit far on the limb for me, but I guess I could kind of see Oklahoma City hey, let's go ESPN and see what they'll do.
It's probably too far and too speculative.
I have some tinfoil for you then.
Okay.
If you remember when Sam Presti introduced the new draft picks, which we were all thrilled about with 53 and 57. We doing it at
God, they're gonna kill it next year, Jerry.
11:30 at night. Did you hear where they actually threw him? They didn't throw him. His sister threw him a surprise birthday party, right? And then we all checked our calendars and said, wait. Mm-hmm. His birthday's May 2nd. So why are you throwing him a surprise birthday party now? And the questions came out, who's throwing it? Oh, his sister's throwing it. Mm-hmm. Oh, but there are Thunder people out there. So if you want to, Brendan, if you want to step out and say that the Thunder are putting it together, there were Thunder people out there with a birthday party.
Oh, we're putting the pieces together right now.
I didn't even fact check that.
Scared money don't make none.
Yeah. No, May 2nd.
Facts.
Oh, and listen, all of our dumb, and can I say butts? Because I don't want to. Yeah.
No, you can say asses too.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You can say butts and asses.
That's so ridiculous.
You're too used to being on the radio. Is what it is.
Yes. So anyway, but our dumb butts didn't even set the fact check until after he walks out, and it's damn it, like Kaiser Sose, he got away with it. He walked straight out of here, told us it was a birthday party, and all of us, including all 15 members of the Daily Oklahoman, all of us did not catch it.
We got Presti.
But on the other side of that,
go ahead.
It would be weird to do that, not thinking that someone's going to catch that BS.
Are you kidding? This is what
it works so well.
This is what their front office is made of.
Yeah.
This is what they do. Am I right?
It's always sort
And
of
people choose to. People ignore those things.
It's almost a
Also.
cult.
But it's also it is kind of that's very Presty to be like, oh, I can outsmart all of these people. Look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna.
But you think you could have come up with something
But
more clever than birthday party because that's a simple Wikipedia
A month,
lookup.
a month later, birthday party.
Yeah,
nobody will think about it.
You just look up the. I mean, the Thunder account tweets out happy birthday to their players. So that's the one. I don't know. I don't know. But
Every single one of us smartest people in the media were there.
yeah,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Look, Fred Katz left. I'm sorry. He probably would have caught it because he's the only nerd I know that's really bad there. None of us caught it. Zero of us caught it.
yeah, that's true.
They gave us pizza. They
Fair
gave us
point.
cake, and we were just drowsy. Oh, birthday party, sure.
But then going back, like you said, this whole you're setting up this whole documentary thing. It was so Hollywood. It was so perfect for in this part 3, which is supposed to be the final part. The final sentence, just I'm coming home. That's so what it seemed like it was going to be. We are back. And now it's taking this weird direction. PG's talking about he has a fishing tournament months down the road. Russ is talking about being there. Now, do you get the feeling that he's made his decision yet, or do you think that there's still time? I mean, free agency hasn't even begun. Like, how has he? Would you make this documentary without knowing what you're gonna do?
Guys, I'll let you guys, it's your show, and I appreciate being together. I'll let you guys jump on it first because I
don't think he's 100% decided what he wants to do. I don't even think he knows yet what he's going to decide to do. But I do feel better about the Thunder's chances. Like whenever I watched the whole season, like I thought that the Thunder had to play really well to be able to keep him, and they didn't. Like it was rough. They didn't play well. They got eliminated in the first round, and so I thought he's gone. Like, why would you come back if you're not going to win here? Why wouldn't you go to LA and lose? Like,
Right.
Why would you stay here?
And then in the part 2 of the documentary, Dwayne Wade talks about how he got sick of getting bounced in the first round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I caught
You're like,
that
oh,
too.
don't say that. Don't say that, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Come on.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I still don't think he's made up his mind yet. Like he still doesn't know. I think he wants to hear what the Lakers are going to say. Maybe he's not supposed to have already heard that, but
He's definitely not supposed to have heard
not
that.
supposed to have.
That's the thing that that's the point that Brian Windhurst made, that would be tampering, right? They've already been busted once for tampering. If he's talked to them, all eyes are supposed to be on LA right now because they've tampered once. So it's a little risky, and you don't want to get busted again. So you have that going for you if you're a Thunder fan. You're thinking about this documentary, like, would he make this documentary if he's already made his decision, or if he hadn't already made his decision, would he make this documentary? I don't know. Does that make sense?
With Paul George, whenever he was signed, whenever he was traded to Oklahoma City, we had a guy on who covered him for all those years in Indiana, and he had a little bit of salt. It was great. It's great to talk to somebody who had a little bit of skin in the game, calculating, smart, knows how to market himself. He said he's going to come across like a country aw shucks guy, but that guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to market himself. So that makes me think that yes, I think he does know where he's going. I think he's known for a long time.
So also like
Wait, so where is that?
just
Where
tell
is
us.
that then? Where?
We're only in part 2.
But also another thing is in the Kawhi LeBron thing, it seems like PG's kind of fallen out of their talk.
I
little
will
bit.
say Kawhi screwed everything up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kawhi screwed everything up for Paul George. Because you think about it, before Kawhi Leonard and all this drama that's going on with him, and the Lakers just constantly knocking on your guys, we'll give you anybody. That's screwing up Paul George because Paul George wanted that, I could go anywhere, like I'm magic. It's an illusion, Michael. I do the whole Arrested Development thing. But it screwed it down. So now he's desperately trying to just kind of figure out how to. He's not going to be bigger than LeBron. Everybody knows that.
No.
But he's trying to make himself the second biggest name in this free agency. And that damn Kawhi, who doesn't say a word, is still outshining him.
Yeah, it even came out, yesterday or was it today, that Kawhi is a little worried about being alongside LeBron James because of the drama that comes with it. You're like, dude, you're talking about going to the Lakers where the Ball family, what are you talking about here?
Yeah.
It's going to, literally any place you go besides San Antonio, that's probably going to happen, unless you go to Milwaukee.
It is a really big moment for Paul George, though. Like, you have, whenever you think back to the decision that LeBron did, this is like that sort of, they're trying to do that correctly now.
Yep.
Right? And at least it does put, Paul George on some sort of a pedestal in the fact that everybody is aware of what he's doing now, right? Because these are coming out. They're releasing, and there's still one more, something to look forward to.
So if you think about this from a Lakers fan perspective, how do they feel right now? You think they feel good? After that, seriously, out of curiosity, I mean, do you think if you were a Lakers fan watching that, you feeling pretty good? Your hopes are still high about getting Paul George, or are they...
So I awkwardly went through comments on our Lakers earlier today on a Paul George thing. So went and dived into the Reddits, and I kind of feel like they're a little bit broken right now. I feel like there are a lot of I feel like there's still a lot of people that and you know there are a lot of Thunder fans that are going to do the same thing with Paul George, but I feel like there are a lot of Lakers fans that are still just like, he's coming to LA, that's all that's ever mattered, that's all that was ever going to happen. He might as well be in purple and gold already. But I think people are starting to kind of back off a little bit. I think they're looking at it like, maybe we don't have the best scenario for Paul George right now. Maybe, and I think a lot of people are looking into Magic, talking about it being a 2-year thing, and they're starting to like they're kind of like finding the breadcrumbs that Magic is apparently leaving out there while he's tampering with everyone. That it's going to be next year is when all the big moves are going to happen for LA. So they're just like kind of starting to like, oh well, we were never going to get Paul George this year. He's just going to do his 1-and-1 opt out, and then we got him next year. Boom.
I wonder how much of that has to do with Kawhi though. Like what you were saying, like. Now it sort of feels like I get the sense that they think that they're going to get Kawhi in some sort of a trade, the Lakers. So I don't know. I think Paul George in that sense then does kind of, lose a little bit there.
Hearing Laker fans like kind of lose their stuff, it's like watching a supermodel like emotionally eat. Like it doesn't sound right that they would be worried about anything. They're all 6'5", blonde hair, and incredibly nice assets. But you get what I'm saying.
Brandon Ingram.
Exactly.
Kuzma. Yeah, I mean the assets are.
Oh, they're all over the place. But the thing, I don't think that Laker fans understand what it is to lose. They just don't, and they've been losing.
Yeah, they should start to realize that.
Yeah, it's a thing. But this has been a promise. Oh, we're building. Yeah. They're coming. Guys, they're coming.
Yeah.
And right now they're seeing, well, hell, why the hell is Paul George on ESPN and he's not in purple and gold? Why is that happening right now? We're the damn Lakers.
They tend to live in fantasy land a little bit.
They've won a lot.
That's Hollywood for
They have, and I think that they're still holding on to those Kobe days and maybe even a little bit of those Shaq days. And they seem, I mean, it seems like LeBron wants to go there, right? That's kind of what it seems like. He wants to, but he doesn't want to go there alone. He needs someone to go with him.
I said this today. I said he has a really interesting thing in front of him. He can get paid $35 million a year, which is just nuts. That's Michael Jordan money.
Yeah, when the salary cap was, yeah.
So he can get
and there was no salary cap.
He can get $35 million a year, or he can contend. He can't do both. He can't do both. And somebody tried to argue with me. I think it's Gabe, and he's like, "Sure, he can. You can go to the Lakers and take somebody with him and contend." I was like, "You're not contending yet."
Needs two guys, and now I think if you're gonna have 3 max guys on the team, I mean, you can contend then, but it goes to show that I think that right now with the landscape of the NBA, I think you still have to build through the draft. And Golden State got lucky with the Kevin Durant thing, but they did build through the draft, and they were able to keep these salaries to a certain limit where they could have their salary cap work and still bring in guys.
People kept taking less.
Yeah.
That's not something amazing they did. People weren't getting paid what they're due.
Yeah. Yeah. Which they got lucky a little bit with the Curry injuries because, they were like,
they didn't have to pay him, yeah.
Right. And then Draymond Green, and then,
Green took less. Yep. Kevin Durant took less. I mean, David West took less. I mean, let's talk. I mean, no one ever talks about David West.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah. The Thunder would love to have David West on their team.
I think it was $10 million haircut he took.
Wow. That's right.
See, and nobody remembers that, but that's a very important part of your team.
So you don't put any weight. It's kind of fallen into like 2 teams is what it sounds like for LeBron. But what if LeBron did decide to stay in the East and he did go to the 76ers? Maybe that's an opportunity for him to still make the money and
that seems
be
to
able
make the most sense
to win. That's the only way, I think, because if he goes to LA, like let's say he gets Kawhi Leonard. They're not beating the Warriors.
No.
They're not beating the Warriors there. So I agree with you. Like, I think the only way that you can truly do that is if he stays in the East, and the best situation, it seems, right now for that would be to go to Philadelphia.
To have a chance at the Warriors, he would have to have Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah,
They would
for
have
sure.
to, and they would have to be able to get a bunch of veterans to come in on the minimum. David West, those guys, those guys that can contribute, still play a little bit, and bring them in. That would be. But the Philly thing makes sense on paper a little bit. I mean, obviously you can make a case about the clashing of Ben Simmons' style and LeBron's style. But I get the sense that the reason he wants to go to LA is because that he's kind of ready to say, this is just where I'm going to stay the rest of my career until I retire. I want to live it up. I want to just
That
relax.
sounds terrible. Like we already have the Warriors, and then the Rockets have done what they did last season, and so now LeBron's going to go to the Lakers with Kawhi Leonard, and we're just going to be like, well, I guess okay.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about sharing mic time. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
true.
he doesn't have to. Kawhi Leonard this year was such an anomaly because he's always been the teammate, the prototypical NBA teammate, MVP style kind of guy. People voted for him instead of Russell Westbrook as the MVP. Zach Lowe, I'm looking at you. They voted for him, and it's ridiculous, but that's what they did. To find out that he was so disgruntled. What, it just happened this year over the injury? Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Okay.
It is a strange situation. I don't know what to think about.
Who could
the
not
whole
like
thing.
Pop?
Right.
I
Like,
never thought that would have happened. That storyline I would have never have considered.
And I don't want to blame Kawhi at all because I don't know what he's doing. It's impossible to know what's going on behind the scenes. But it's so, like, if you played all year, then I can see it. You finish with the 5th seed. You get bounced in the first round, maybe get swept in the second round, whatever the case. Then I can see it. You're like, you know what? I'm ready to get out here. It doesn't fit my personality. I want to go to LA where I'm from, whatever. Played 9 games. And there were reports that you were healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Except from your people that you weren't.
It sounds like
healthy.
San Antonio definitely fits his personality.
Right.
Like, LA seems weird. What do you mean you want to go to LA?
The parallels between him and Tim Duncan, is at least on the surface, are insane.
Yeah.
You had something, Justin? I cut you off, I think.
No, you're good. I wonder if Kawhi was that first guy where Pop's that old school coach. What if Kawhi was just that first guy in a list of guys that just don't work because they're younger guys? They've got the different personality where Pop doesn't really click.
Well,
at
it's
some
LaMarcus
point,
Aldridge, like
yeah.
we saw, just a season
Eventually,
ago.
it was going to happen.
Right. At some point, it's going to happen. How old is Pop?
138 years
Yeah,
old.
I think that's-
I looked it up on Wikipedia.
He's one of the only coaches to coach in 3
The Thunder
centuries.
threw him a birthday party. And it was his 168.
He is 69.
Nice.
Nice.
That's crazy though. 69 years old, in a coach to be a coach in today's NBA that is rapidly evolving to be something that it hasn't been. He's done a good job of keeping up with it, for sure. But I mean, that's
Time's always going to catch up with you at some point.
Oh, it's not, I mean, but you can go if you have rings. That's what people pay attention to.
Yeah,
it's true.
And it really is. The
5 of 'em.
LaMarcus Aldridge thing was it really was a crack in what San Antonio did. Remember, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you came up with Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. What did you have to say? You didn't have crap to say.
Winners, a bunch of winners.
Champions were on your team. You shut your mouth. You did your bit. You were a better player than them at one point, maybe so, but you kept your mouth shut. Now you look, it's all starting to fade away. And then LaMarcus Aldridge says, I really don't like this dude.
Maybe.
And then Kawhi is just like,
Yeah.
This Patty Mills guy just chucks shots up all the time. Yeah, I mean,
who's Dwayne Dedman?
Yeah. Bryn Forbes, all these guys.
What are these people doing here?
So back to PG. Let's say he hasn't made his decision. If he hasn't, is it down to the Thunder and Lakers? No possibility of because there's been reports that the Sixers are going to go after him. Why wouldn't they? He seems like the perfect fit in Philadelphia.
The Rockets.
He also
Rockets
gave the
gonna go
Celtics.
after him.
He gave the Celtics a 1 second mention in the
He did a
documentary.
shout out.
Did he?
Yeah, he said there's other places like the Celtics.
Yeah. So like, if you think about those teams, and if winning is so important to him, you look back. Like Rob, you brought it up last year. You look back. This Thunder team doesn't exactly say like. This team isn't going to be very different next year if he returns, right? It's not going to be.
Hardly at all.
You'll have a year under your belt, but you might have a couple different, maybe, couple interchangeable pieces, but nothing that's going to really move the needle except for maybe chemistry that you build.
Maybe Paul George doesn't miss everything after the All-Star break.
Oh,
Good point.
he had that hitch.
Grab that third seed.
Oh, that damn hitch. That hitch will get you every time. I have a unique ability, and this is why I've succeeded in this business, is to stay awake during Sam Presti press conferences. And one thing that Sam Presti said in one of his press conferences at the end, actually the end of the year, the exit one, that whenever Andre was healthy and right before he was injured, they went about 3 weeks where they were the best lineup. And I always get crap on the station for this too. Oh, better than the Warriors? No, they weren't better than. But all your numbers guys, all your geeks guys, everything, including Sam Presti, they were the best lineup in the NBA. You're telling me that you're promising this guy Melo already, and two, don't misnomer. He didn't opt in. He just sat on his ass.
Yeah, he hung out on a Saturday.
Right. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't terminate early. Like maybe many girls that you knew in high school.
You can't blame him for. You can't blame him.
Sorry, what happened there?
You can't blame him for $28 million sitting up there and being like, no thanks.
But you're gonna have the same. Think about that. Steven Adams, a year better. Carmelo Anthony.
A year better.
A year older.
Carmelo Anthony only bitched at the end.
Yeah.
All right, if you take a road trip with a dude and you're going 8 hours somewhere, right? It's a shitty road trip.
Maybe
bad
16.
weather, right? You ate Taco Bell, gassed up the car.
Oh, that sounds like
this
a
sounds
good
really
trip.
familiar.
You got me, Jerry. Let's go.
And the
Where we
dude doesn't say anything till you get back home. What's
Yeah.
the problem?
All right.
Oh, that stunk.
Well,
I'm never
But
doing that again.
Here's the thing about that, though, is does that carry over, though? Like, it happened at the end, so what does that mean for next season?
Right.
Take the road trip again.
I mean,
he doesn't bitch during the road. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
He doesn't bitch during the road trip.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me because it seemed like the way it blew up at the end, the way I viewed it, and it's interesting hearing your perspective. The way that I viewed it was that it all just finally came to a boiling point, and he couldn't hold it in. Like, he tried. I really think he tried all season long to sacrifice and play his role, and it was frustrating for him at times. And I think that the thing that really held him back was not being honest with himself about who he is as a player anymore, or who he can be. I think that's the thing, and I think like if he could just accept that, he could be really good for this team. But I think as long as he doesn't, he's going to reach that boiling point, and he's going to lose it at times.
I think he's a little conflicted with that. Like, we saw times at the end of the season where the Thunder were in a game that he was on the bench, and Billy Donovan brought him back in. And then there was a time where he was on the bench, and Jeremy Grant had it going, and he said, let them stay in. Like, I think there's like
fun.
he's like conflicted a little bit. Like, he's trying to figure that part out.
He told the Thunder he's not going to play. I mean, he told the Knicks he's not going to play the 4. Okay? I mean, you want to talk about disgruntled, Carmelo. Oh, no, you guys are losing. I'm not going to play the 4. You're not going to do that to me. When he comes to Oklahoma City, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. Eric Horn asks him about the bench. No, he's not going to come off the bench. Fine. I'm fine with that. I like that ego. I like that chip on his shoulder. He's going to play, all right? And he was good enough. Don't make the mistake that Billy Donovan would not have put him on the bench if he wasn't good enough. He was good enough to be on the floor.
I don't know. I think there were times that towards the end
that's I don't believe that one bit. He had the whole organization. Who's gonna get tossed first? Billy Donovan or Carmelo Anthony?
No, you're totally right about that. But that's why I think that Billy Donovan never felt comfortable with treating Melo, like, at least as far as on the court, the way that maybe sometimes, like when Jeremy Grant had times where you were like, that guy has to stay on the court. And there's no other guy that you're taking off the court except for Carmelo Anthony. He's the only one that Jeremy Grant can be in there over. And there's times that Jeremy Grant is the better player.
Sure.
There is. And so that's where I'm like, I don't know.
It's the Oklahoma City fans are used to, like, people knowing their roles. They got it all figured out. Russ is Russ. Kevin Durant was Durant. All that good stuff, right? Okay. This is the first time they've had to deal with a guy that you have to respect. That maybe isn't contributing the way that you want him to. He's still playing the damn 4. He doesn't belong at the 4. Yeah. Derek Favors killed him.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me? And then you offset switching him off with Gobert.
But do you think he can play the 3?
Do I think he can play the 3?
Yeah.
I think offensively he can play the 3.
Sure.
Like nobody's business.
Defensively.
That's
the question there.
You want to talk about the Thunder's defense, and I think we got a couple of all NBA defensive players that don't all NBA defensive play. So Carmelo fits right into the Russ could be
No, that's correct.
dog. Russ could be
Oh
an
no
absolute
joke
dog.
about it. No, yeah, I mean that's no secret.
So, I mean, don't, whenever you say that, and I know what you're doing there with the Carmelo Anthony thing, look, he can fill it up at the 3. Is he going to be a defensive liability? He has quick hands. Like he
does.
He can poke the ball out and stuff like that, but no, he's not going to be a shutdown. No.
And he's not going to be the guy that steps in front of you to take a charge.
No, he's not.
As long as you can continue to hide him when you've got Andre Robertson and Paul George out there on the floor and Steven Adams, if you can hide him, then he's fine to play on defense.
That's the key too. Is Andre Robertson and Billy Donovan said something, and Rob, I'll let you after this, but Billy Donovan said after Andre went down, it's like losing a 20-point score.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of went, oh, he's talking that.
It's true, though.
No, it was absolutely legitimate. That was a
So
legitimate
it sounds
statement.
like you are very optimistic about what Carmelo can do, because I think a lot of Thunder fans are down on sort of he's coming
Isn't
back.
that the way that, like you said, it's the way the season finished, that his comments to end the season,
Right.
that's what's on everyone's brain still,
It really comes down to the part of it, though, was it seems like Sam Presti has his idea of what they expect from Melo. And Melo, it sort of seemed from his comments, has his differing opinion of what he needs to be, how he should be used. And I think that was the concern, was that it sounds like those are two differing things. So how does that play out? That's the nervousness of what does that mean?
Yep.
What does that mean on the court?
And it's impossible for a guy like Billy Donovan, without the tenure of Carmelo Anthony, to feel the freedom to just tug around with Carmelo and say, I'm going to try you here. I'm going to try you here. Carmelo's going to be like, dude, what do you want to do? Like, I've been in the league 16 years now. You've been in the league for 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm your boss, actually.
And that happened.
That's how it's going.
And I work with 2 guys that played in the professional football, but that's what happens. Gabe Eckert has a great story about Aqib Talib, who the defensive coordinator was telling him something. He goes, "Shut up, dude. You make $4 million. I make 28."
Wow.
On the sideline during a game.
I'll be like, dude, I still make 4.
4's pretty good.
And it's just that's professional sports.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah, and I mean, when you put all those egos on one team, there's a lot I guess that's where you can make the case that, hey, let's give this another year and maybe it'll be a little better.
I think Carmelo did a great job this year. Like I said, not bitching till they got to the end of the
I agree
road
with
trip.
that. So. Totally agree with
I
that.
think one thing that we're really glossing over with Melo is he seems like a really nice guy.
He's
a great
such
guy.
a good dude.
He's a great guy.
Such a great guy. We have this thing where anytime we're about to say something bad about him, we have to preface
He's a great guy.
Great guy.
But, however,
So if we're talking about this team and heading into, say Paul George does return, let's stay on this train.
Is Paul George still returning?
He is
Okay,
in this podcast.
Okay.
In this podcast. But we'll go if he leaves. We'll talk about that next.
Okay.
What are the expectations for this team in your mind? Because
We are back!
that's interesting to me, Jerry, because
If they run it back,
Melo's back, another year of learning his role, what his role should be on this team. Another year of Russ and Paul George working together. Another year of Steven Adams getting better. What are expectations?
they were a 4 seed. Everybody forgets this.
Yeah,
There's
they were 4,
no way.
but also 2 games for missing the playoffs. So
They were the 4 seed, though.
Yeah,
We say this in our show, #facts only. They were the 4 seed. They were not the 9 seed. They were the 4 seed. They had home court advantage. Think about everything that happened after Andre got hurt. The bottom fell out, and they still managed to get home court advantage in the playoffs. Plus a couple of big wins on national television against the
a
Houston
lot
Rockets,
of big
against
wins.
the Golden State Warriors.
Toronto.
Those were fun.
Oh my
Those
God.
were so fun.
I love Gabe who kept on bringing up the Toronto. Or John Hamm. I'm just going to name drop like crazy here. John Hamm would say that they beat Toronto in the last couple of weeks at Toronto and outscored them. Didn't play defense. 132-130.
Oh my God, that game was insane.
The only reason I know this is because John keeps bringing it up.
So I feel like one of the things you're kind of getting at is if Dre is healthy that entire time, do you think they're the 3 seed?
Yes.
And
I agree.
They're winning the division in that case.
Yeah.
There's another banner up. Granted, it's a division banner, but it's something to show for a great season that you just had.
And 2.
Oh, I like that!
that was loud.
So loud.
Coming in hot. And they would have been swept by New Orleans. But
Yeah.
Carmelo can't guard AD.
Oh, that would have been rough.
But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, that team when they're put together. I know it sounds so optimistic, and
That's okay.
Like you said, I'm on the right show. I'm
Yeah.
very optimistic about this, but they were on the right path. They absolutely in winning.
It's interesting those are the points that you choose to look at, and that's I try to do a little bit of that, but it's the overwhelming bad moments. It seemed like, because even the team went 48-34, I believe was the record. A lot of those wins weren't pretty, and I know beggars can be choosers. You can't be unhappy. A win's a win, right? It's professional sports, but man. Like, there was just some moments this season. Even when you won, you were like, oh.
They almost won 50.
Yeah, but...
What about the Giannis and Antetokounmpo game whenever he steps on the baseline? What about the Minnesota game?
You're right.
The hits. I mean,
but to me, it's the product as a whole didn't feel like a great product.
And it happened after Andre hurt himself.
Yeah,
a large part of it did.
I agree with that, too, because it is how you get there. Like, they were the 4 seed. They had home court advantage in the first round of those playoffs. But it was also how they got there. Like, whenever you come out in each game and you look so good in the first quarter, and then you just know out of halftime this team's not going to play well. Like, they're going whatever lead they have, they're going to lose it. I think that was also the frustrating part. And that's, I think, what you can kind of also hang your hat on a little bit is, look, that can't happen again, right? They'll get that figured out, hopefully. Because if they do that, I think you're even looking at, you're definitely looking at the 3 seed. If you can just figure out how, whatever you're doing to start the game, whenever you come out of halftime, like something is lacking there. That was the entire season. You could just predict how every game was going to go almost.
So Presley's not crazy at all, thinking this team should just run it back, or is he crazy?
I don't think he has much of a choice.
He definitely doesn't have much of a choice.
They put it together like this. This was supposed to... Paul George, playing the part of Paul George... playing the part of Kevin Durant's Paul George. Mm-hmm. That's if you really look at... They have not swayed away from what the long-term plan was. Mm-hmm. They have a small forward, and they do. Paul George... I'm glad. I hope you come back, bro. You're Equate brand Kevin Durant. You are.
I agree.
You're Walmart brand... And I thought about that. And I've actually said this in the past couple of years. The only couple of guys that really were like Kevin Durant were Carmelo Anthony and Paul George. Mm-hmm. And I'll be damned if Sam Presti didn't double down. He's like, hell, I'll take 2 of them. They're on discount. Give them to me. Well,
kind of combine their powers and try to equal the production that Kevin Durant gave you, and maybe make up for a little bit what you lost with Ibaka, too, because he was always the third guy.
Yeah. Say if Melo is supposed to be Serge Ibaka, they need to find a new casting agent.
Maybe if you could hockey sub, I think we've talked about this a lot. You put in Grant on defense, and then you put in Melo on offense, and you're good to go.
Go back old school girls 6-on-6.
Oh, yeah. So how did that work? Because I've heard about this, and I really want to know the rules. 3 on each side?
Uh-huh. And then you got 3 defenders. It's like hockey. You got 3 defenders, and you got 3
But they weren't allowed to cross half court, right?
Nope.
God, imagine that. You're on defense, Becky.
I hate it.
I don't have to do anything.
But it works out so well because you've got Dre and Melo. You've got the 2 best players that could possibly end up stuck on that side of the floor.
Yes. I like it. We're onto something here. If you're the home team, you get to call the rules. It's like poker.
Hey, Adam Silver, listen.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah. They bring it back. Old school.
6-on-6. Back to that. Expectations. It's fair to expect this team to win 50 games next year if Paul George comes back.
Paul George comes back. Is it fair to 50 games? Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Rob, you on that?
Healthy.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're talking Rob into it. I don't know that he was there, but I feel like he's there now.
Well, I expected them to win more than 48 before we saw the possibilities. And I mean, Jerry's right. Like, before the Robertson injury, and it's so much. Like, if you look at his stats, like, you're not going to say, well, so they're going to lose 6 points a game. And that's what you're gonna say cost you the season. Well, he does so much defensively. Now you have to have Paul George step up in that. Everybody else has to step up a peg whenever you take Robertson out of what he was doing. Like, it's more than just he scores 6 points a game, so you can find that and you can make that up easily. It's way more than that.
Yeah, and we talked about it a lot, how that you can't just you can't replace what he does. You just can't. And it might not be a valid excuse to say Robertson means this much to this team.
Out of all the
in fact, he does, though.
All the contingencies, they weren't ready for that.
No way.
They
Which is so weird.
Were not
so
ready
strange,
for that.
but you're right. They definitely weren't.
Josh Eustace was supposed to be that guy, and he wasn't.
Remember, he's a career 26% free throw shooter, somehow worse than Andre Robertson.
Solid.
After Andre goes down, remember, it took them to go get Corey Brewer to figure out that 5th starter. They threw in, and think about that. Eustace, Abrinas, Like they threw guys in there, they weren't ready.
Kind of had to go get a guy, Corey Brewer, that no one really wanted.
If you're going to criticize Sam Presti or critique, I'm not a criticize guy, I'm a critique guy. If you're going to critique Sam Presti, the contingency plan for Andre Robertson was wrong. You did not give Billy Donovan the tools.
I wonder how you
to
could
have that.
foresee that though. It's just weird to be able to think about how big of a issue that was, because he did have. I mean, there were guys that you would hope would be able to fill some of that need. Just didn't happen.
No, exactly. And that's the whole thing. Like I said, it was supposed to be Hustis. It was supposed to be Hustis. It wasn't. Josh, great guy. Am I doing it right?
That was
He's a great guy. He's such a good guy.
Great guy. It didn't work out.
Oh, you're not going to end up in a Twitter war with him, are you?
No, that's
since Fred's gone.
That thing is more put together like this Paul George. The Josh Hustis and Fred Katz thing is
it seemed contrived.
Oh.
So Hustis not coming back?
No.
No?
He was supposed to. No, he was supposed to be that guy, and he didn't do his job.
I think if he came back, it'd be on the minimum, obviously. I don't know that anyone's throwing any extra money at him, but I just wonder if there might be like, hey, man, you've been here. You kind of know how it is. No?
Not if you can't rely on him. I think that's probably the biggest part is can't trust what he's going to do.
He has moments, and then not a lot of them.
You had to start somebody off the trash heap.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think whenever they went and got trash heap guys in the past.
Yeah.
At least they were coming off the bench.
Until Game 5 of the playoffs when Caron Butler had to start because Thabo Sefolosha couldn't shoot the ball. That's the only thing. So the same thing, except Caron Butler, way higher up on or lower on the totem pole, whichever one it is.
Yeah.
Than Corey Brewer. So, flip side. PG leaves. What are our expectations then?
Hey, go.
What's this team look like? Obviously, it's not going to look similar to last year, but we've seen Russ take this team to the playoffs without Paul George, without Carmelo Anthony before. Obviously, he had Oladipo on the team, but Oladipo wasn't Oladipo of today. What are our expectations here? Are we expecting PG leaves and you're like, you know what? We might be headed for a rebuild. Or are you thinking, we're just going to ride this one out. We have Russell Westbrook, and he might be able to get us to a 6 seed, 7 seed, 8 seed on any given year.
Yeah, the biggest question there is that team a playoff team? Because the West was so close whenever you had Paul George. And so is the team without Paul George? Because you're not going to – you're going to bring in somebody that you hope can score some points, but you're probably – you're not going to get anything like what you had. And so the biggest question there is that team a playoff team? And – I don't know. I'm not so sure that team with Carmelo Anthony is as much optimism as Jerry has with Carmelo. I don't know. I'm not there yet.
That just hurts to think about. I've been trying to avoid that all off season. Is a Thunder team without Paul George right now.
But we said before that it's probably the most likely scenario.
Yeah, probably. But I think it's just kind of one of those. You forget that it's a team. And you're just like, hey, we have Russell Westbrook, and let's just watch Russ be Russ, because that's a lot of fun at the end of the day.
Do you think that's the best idea?
If you don't bring Paul George back, I guess Carmelo could play the 3. Maybe that opens him up offensively.
Carmelo's getting up 20 shots a game.
Yeah, it's gonna be an ugly process throughout the whole thing.
Many bricks.
You maybe squeeze an 8 seed and you lose in 4 games by 20 apiece to Houston or Golden State.
That sounds
Sounds bad, yeah.
One of my favorite Ben Folds song is "Brick." I mean that's a beautiful song.
Classic.
So
it's about abortion.
There's beauty in bricks. That's twice now we've done this in the show. We talked about earlier.
Red Rag Top Tim McGraw. There's 3.
But okay, so here we go. You ready? Next year's. What I think about next year without Paul George, which I get to do that a lot.
I'm sure.
Think about that. You have a playoff team. You have Carmelo comfortable at 3, taking as many damn shots as he wants, and Russ will give it to him. You look early in the season. That was kind of the problem, which it really wasn't a problem. Is that Russ was? Remember, he was a double-digit assist guy. Kind of did well with the assists, and a lot of that was to Carmelo Anthony. You try to beg Jeremy Grant to come back and be in your starting lineup, be sort of a old Paris flea market style Serge Ibaka next to Steven Adams, and then it's about damn time we cash in with Alex Abrinas, right? We were promised the great Spaniard, okay?
Definitely.
And we have not seen it yet. He had flashes in the playoffs last year. This is the year.
Yeah.
They're a playoff team. Are they a 7 seed? Are they a 6 seed? I don't know.
They're
at this
somewhere
point.
on there.
But you have this one mortgaged year, okay? The $28 million. Let Carmelo spend it as much as he wants. Good luck spending $28 million in Oklahoma City. I couldn't do it. In New York, you can do it in 3 nights. In Oklahoma City, it's like Brewster's Million. You're not going to be able to find.
What are some things in Oklahoma City that he could really spend his money on? This would be fun. This would be fun to think about.
The 21C, get like one of the really nice, and just stay there. Like I know they stay at the Colcord.
Do they have really nice rooms
at the Colcord or 21C?
21C.
Oh, it's
really?
wonderful.
I didn't know this.
I know a guy. Let's just put it this way.
You can
hook
me up?
Hell no. It got me hard enough to get mine. But no, beautiful rooms there. You can do that. You can go rent a Maybach for a year?
Yeah.
Right?
You could
2 Maybachs.
I bet what he's going to do, he'd spend a lot of it on wine because he's really into wine. So he's just going to ship in a bunch of wine from other places in Oklahoma City.
You can't ship it in, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Can you now? Whenever the new law comes in.
Okay. Well, no, you can right now. I get wine shipped to my house all the time.
Yeah, you can just join the club you're a part of, and that's pretty
it's a
hefty
club
fee.
though. I don't know if there's like a workaround because it's a subscription service. I'm not real sure how this works.
I'm sure Melo could probably pay with $28 million. You can pay someone enough money, even if it's not okay. They'll bring it to your house.
He just calls Uber to bring him wine from other states.
I do think it's a playoff team because you have roles that are established. And part of the break-in with Carmelo Anthony and Paul George is they had to figure out who was doing what. It took them a whole half damn year. Remember, their number, and give them credit, no one gives them credit for this. They were a top 10, top 5 defensive team before they figured it out offensively. Then they got it going offensively. All right, I feel like I'm talking to Rob because Rob's the only one that doesn't believe.
Convince me.
Change his mind.
Then when offensively they flipped, they started to lose ground defensively, though, but that's because they were working
natural.
Up. And the next thing you know, when Andre Robertson's in the lineup, right before he gets hurt, offensively, defensively, they came together. And we're at Detroit. By the way, I'm a Pistons fan.
I was just about to say that. By the way, that happened at your Pistons.
Yes,
thanks a lot.
Which is funny too. In the new,
not funny.
In the new building. There wasn't a way to get him out with the stretcher. I don't know if you remember that. They had to have a guy help pull up the chairs because they didn't have a place to pull him out with. I'm like, oh, great. This is embarrassing.
And brutal.
Thank God no one was there. And they could move those seats. But
only because Reggie Jackson was hurt.
Yes.
Or else the seats would have been filled.
But I think that the roles will be established whenever they start. I think Alex Abrinas has room to breathe. I think part of his problem, he's scared to death of Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, all the egos around him are probably a little scary too. Just Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, all the star power. You're like, whoa. I mean, he's still a young guy, and he seems a little timid anyways.
And I like Terrence Ferguson.
His role,
I like Terrence Ferguson.
Abrinas' role last year too was like so weird for him. Like trying to figure out, okay, so I'm going in this at this time. I have to hit this one shot, otherwise it's gonna his confidence goes down. Billy Donovan's confidence in him goes down. So then you pull him out. And then what does that do to him, right? I think there was a lot of let's hope Abrinas can do something really quick right here. If not, let's try something else. So
he was we talked about it a lot. He was the one player on the roster that was toyed with the most.
Yeah. And the thing in the playoffs, he said, "Fine, I'll block some shots. Like what do I need to do? Whatever I need to do." So,
you wanted me to be Robertson this whole time? I got this.
I still don't think Abrinas was 100%. Like he wasn't right coming into the season, and I really think that kind of derailed everything for him. Like,
him, Pat, even Russ.
Yeah,
to a certain point, I think
the weird thing about Patterson, because it's interesting and it's totally valid. He didn't get to have a training camp and everything. Dude still played 82 games. If something's bothering you throughout the season, don't you rest 1, rest 2, rest 3, rest 1 here and there, get that thing feeling better? That's why it's hard for me to buy that for him. I just feel like he had a down year.
He did have a down year. The adjustment of coming to Oklahoma City, the adjustment. Remember, he showed up before Paul George did. He was going to start. He was the power forward. Here we go. Let's go. I finally did it. And it's like, we got Paul George. Oh, okay. We got Carmelo Anthony. What?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? So, yeah.
Yeah, he probably
this
wasn't
just in. The Lakers have waived Tyler Ennis. Not a big deal.
Breaking news. Although you never know if that's to make room.
It could
for
be
something.
making room. Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
I feel like this is that Game of Zones. Where you're telling House Lakers.
Exactly. Okay, come back when something interesting happens.
So let's just hope that the Lakers just go for broke on getting Paul George and then get slammed. And like they've just got like 4 guys on the roster, and like they don't get LeBron or Paul George. They're like, I guess we'll just call some guys and fill out a roster.
That's what we're all hoping for here, because, and I'm scared to say it out loud because I don't want it to come back and bite me in the ass, but it would just be so amazing if they didn't end up with anybody, because every year they think they're getting someone, and every year they don't.
Magic Johnson is nothing. He has no problem with this. He's played Larry Bird in the final.
I know, so weird.
This is
it. It was so good.
I hated that. I was like, I felt like he was setting himself up, because like he's built this up. Like he's the one that has built it. He did it to himself.
Yeah.
Like he said, people are coming. This is going to work. And
it's the Lakers, baby.
It hasn't yet, so.
The backcourt is going to be all 3 Ball brothers.
That would be incredible.
That would be such a disaster.
LeVar Ball is the coach.
He's the power forward.
Or the mascot.
He's got to play.
He could be the mascot.
I just think, the Lakers, they supposedly have, and it's not Magic Johnson, it's Rob Pelinka, it's Genie Bus, right? Mm-hmm. They got the bad buses out. They pulled in Rob Lowe, Thank God Parks and Rec got canceled. They could pull him in, but they're there, right? This was supposed to be it. Mm-hmm. You're the dream team. Forget about the free agents. The dream team in the front office. You got Magic Johnson as the figurehead, the great Laker of all time, but in the background, Genie, who really knows how to run the damn business, and and give a hell of a massage, according to Phil Jackson, and Rob Pelinka. I mean, and that's the guy, right?
Right. No, they're well set up for the future too. I mean, they have good young players. I don't think it would be a crazy move. Like that's why if Paul George did want to go there, it might catapult them to a lower tier playoff team, like a 6, 7, 8 seed playoff team. It could. I could see that happening.
I'm wondering with the Lakers if Magic Johnson ends up kind of being like what MJ is out in Charlotte, where it's kind of that no one wants to say no because he's Magic Johnson. Like, even if he has a bad idea, no one wants to call him on it.
That's true.
Like, I wonder if there's like a little bit of that, or if there's more of that down the road. It's so hard. That guy, I mean, he's a legend. He's an absolute legend in Los Angeles. He is one of the greatest Lakers of all time. It's got to be hard to look at him and be like, that's not the best move for this Los Angeles Lakers franchise there, Magic.
That's true. That's a fair point. Let's move on before we get to some Twitter questions, because we have a bunch for you, Jerry.
Sweet.
Free agency is starting Sunday, obviously, so we have to touch on this. People are so interested. What can the Thunder do? It's important to know. Well, number one, off the top, it's important to know that there's not going to be much difference what the Thunder can do whether Paul George stays or not. They're going to be able to do the exact same things. Maybe aside from Jeremy Grant. Maybe they'll be willing to throw a little bit more money at Jeremy Grant than they would if Paul George were going to stay. If he left, they'd be like, well, we have a little extra cash. Here you go, Jeremy Grant. Which, by the way, side note, I kind of feel like Jeremy Grant's staying regardless. And I got the vibe from you. You made a comment earlier, Jerry. Do you kind of think he's gone? You think he's leaving?
There are a lot of suitors. I was reading today. I was
Really?
kind of like you. I was like, this is a pretty good spot for him. This isn't. I start reading. I'm just like, oh, they'll offer him money. They'll get him money. That's playing time. Oh, he can be a starter there. That's being a starter and making decent money. That's the next step for Jeremy Grant.
Yes. The scary thing here, though, is that it's a super competitive market and there's not a lot of money out there. You got Trevor Ariza out there, Luke Mbamute, Julius Randle, all these guys that play the same position as him that people might value more than him, at least for one single year. That's why I think if he wants to be in Oklahoma City, he'll be here. But maybe not. But if we look on the outside, with this, the most important thing that the Thunder are going to have is that mid-level exception, that taxpayer mid-level exception. It's about $5.3 million. Rob, did you have a couple guys in mind that the Thunder might look at? I have a couple guys written down.
Yeah, so one of the guys that I had come up with, it was somebody who I was hoping the Thunder would have a chance at last year, was Marco Bellinelli. Like, I thought that's a guy who, even if they do lose Paul George, which I think that I think what we saw was what he decided to do means that he kind of wants to win, right? So I don't know if he would be if he would want that kind of a role if Paul George does leave. Like I don't know if he wants to be in Oklahoma City.
That's his role, though, right? I think with any team, that's Bellinelli's role.
Yeah, well, I meant more so because they're not going to necessarily. They're not going to be you're not looking at a true contender at that point, and so. I don't know. I kind of think, like, Bellinelli, if Paul George stays, I love the idea of Bellinelli being one of those guys that they look at to bring in.
I'm with that. I mean, I could get behind, because is that the approach that the Thunder take? If Paul George stays, you're still all in, right? You're still like, we're trying to win here.
Yes.
We're not going to give our mid-level exception to someone for 4 years to hang around, to grow here. I think it's more like, let's give it to someone this year that can really help us this year.
The only thing about that, though, is I wonder how much, like, what does Presti want to do with Alex Abrinas? Like, do you want to bring in a guy who's going to take minutes away from Abrinas and what he
he's
can
better,
what he can potentially, but you want him to grow, right? He needs the time on the court to be able to do that. So I do. That's the only thing that I have with bringing in somebody like Bellinelli, who I think would get more minutes than Abrinas.
Now, see, I'm with you on the mid-level exception being used on a wing, because that's where the Thunder have always had a lack of depth. And that's where the market is not exactly hot right now. You got Bellinelli out there. Avery Bradley might get more money than that. Someone really might, but I feel like his stock is really dipped.
Well, you know what happened
know him
to him.
well.
You know what happened to him, right? Whenever he had the sexual assault charges, right? And that's kind of floating over his head.
I guess I don't know this.
And that's okay. So that's why people wouldn't touch him for a little while.
Well, Presti's not going to touch him.
He was a hot name, right? He was an absolute hot name. Got injured, had the sexual assault charges. Here's the thing, though: it's professional sports. At some point, if nothing's coming of it, and he's not getting convicted of something or what have you, that's a good way to get somebody less, at a lesser price than what they're worth. You're saying Sam Presti wouldn't touch him.
Yeah.
If there's no conviction and there's nothing come of it, you bring the kid in. You don't say anything about it.
That's how I feel about it. I just wonder if
the injury is also the problem too. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But sometimes I feel like organizations are like, they might agree with you there, where it's like, there's been no conviction, there's been nothing like that. But it's like, I'd rather just not deal with it. I'd rather not even touch it. That's but
it's been long enough. Like, okay,
how long has that been? Because I don't know about.
In the middle of last season, maybe.
Yeah, I want to say it started to come out 4, 5, 6 months ago.
Right when you got traded, that was part of the reason why the Pistons were. Oh, you want him? Take him.
But it was weirdly hush hush for a while too. But it happened quite a bit before the reports came out, and then it just kind of all flooded at the same time. That everything was coming out at that point, anyways. So it was probably in the whole deluge of just the Me Too stuff and all the sexual assault things that were coming out. Avery Bradley was part of that, and I think it kind of got swept under the rug because there were so many other things that were oh no, we have every right to believe, and we know exactly what this guy did. So
I do like his fit with the Thunder, even especially with Paul George coming back. You have a little insurance with Andre Robertson if he's not quite what he was on the defensive end. What about if Paul George did come back? Lance Stevenson. Huh? Who's ready to party?
Get weird with it?
Yeah. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yeah.
Do it. And here's why. Here's why. Every really good championship team has a guy. Okay, what is it? And I forgot who coined this. I always
Jester.
They have a guy that you're not sure. Charles Barkley, actually. Yeah. A guy you're not sure is playing for you or against you. Go down some of the great championship teams, and they always had a dude who you're not sure if it's playing for you, against you. The current ones, it's Draymond Green, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers, it's J.R. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dallas Mavericks.
That's for sure.
Hey, they were tied though.
Deshaun Stevenson.
Oh yeah.
Remember that guy? Mm-hmm. Bruce Bowen on the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Dennis Rodman
for the Bulls. All the Pistons.
All of his teams, yeah. Yeah, all of the Pistons.
Vernon Maxwell for the Houston. I mean, I'm dead serious.
Steven Adams is a little bit that guy.
Yeah, right. Seeing he's not enough for me.
No?
He needs to be...
Carmelo Anthony.
Adams is an irritator, though, and that's why, he's the guy that doesn't really...
you always need a guy you're not sure... Is this guy on our team? Yeah. Is he working for us?
Dion Waiters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those.
Dion Waiters, I used to always say, Dion Waiters was the Jerry Ramsey of the Thunder. When I'd walk into the radio station, and at the time, I wasn't even what I am now. I'm a co-host now. Back then, I was just a producer and, swept the floors. and I was the best thing. I just walked in and I had this shit, and they're like, "You're like Deion Waiters, dude. Just chill."
A lesser known guy that I had on here was Wayne Ellington. I thought that he could come in similar salary to what he's gotten in the past, and so I thought that was a guy who could actually. You want somebody that could be the opposite of what you get with Robertson, somebody that could come in with that bench unit, and you could put him out there and he could score.
I like that.
I think that that's somebody else who could come in at that MLE.
Isn't McDermott back on the market too?
Yes.
McDermott was a guy that was supposed to fit.
We had the thing where Russ after the game, there was, what did he say to McDermott, where it kind of looked like he might have said, "We want you back." And so I don't know. I mean, that's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a good point. And the thing about the MLE, especially in the Thunder's case, is this is such a prized possession. I feel like right now in their situation, you're so deep into the luxury tax, you're in a total win now situation. You better use this thing properly. You better use it on a guy that is going to be able to stay on the court, especially in the playoffs. That's why I'd be hesitant to even use it on Cantor if he wanted to come back, because he can't stay on the court in the playoffs. Can McDermott stay on the court in the playoffs? That's the big question, right? A lot of people think he's the worst defensive player in the entire league. I don't
Rob
know if I
Larson?
buy that.
Statistically, whenever he was with the Thunder, you look at statistically, he was.
He's not a good defensive player.
No.
We know that. But so that's the worry there. But I do like, it's intriguing because the guy can shoot the ball and he can score.
And with the eraser, Andre Robertson, which, by the way, he's not going to show up until late December, early January. I think that's the reports now.
Oh, is that what he said? Because last I heard, Presti said that it was looking like he had a chance. This was
like training camp
a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, he's
whatever. I mean, he was walking. He was like doing steps. He was ready for that next step. But still, everything I've seen projected is late December, early January. And when he comes back too, this is a just a devastating injury. How is he going to come back? Is he going to be Wesley Matthews?
I know. Is he going to
be Brandon Roy? I mean, I knock on wood. I don't want to say that, but
no, it's totally fair.
Look at that injury. It was horrifying.
It's totally fair. And then, the biggest needs that the Thunder are going to have is that backup point guard position. You have Raymond Felton, who did a pretty decent job last season. Do you think he comes back? If you had to put money on it right now, is Raymond Felton back with his team next year?
I think it depends on Paul George for me.
So if Paul George is back.
If Paul George is back, I think you do go with Raymond Felton. I think you can. I think at that point you do kind of bring Raymond Felton back in because, like, at points in the season, Raymond Felton was the guy on the bench you could count on.
Yeah,
like that was the guy who, if you needed to score, which they struggled to do with that bench unit, like that was the guy that you could sort of count on. And I thought his minutes with Russ, whenever they played together, those looked pretty good too. So
they were okay.
I liked them. I thought that, and you could. That was something that I felt like you could build on. You give it a little bit more time, and those two guys could be a little better together.
Some other guys on the market that we can just let everyone else know in there, because, like we said, you have the mid-level exception here, and then you have a bunch of minimum contracts. That's all you're going to be able to hand out. So maybe a guy like Seth Curry, who's hurt all season last year, kind of under the out of sight, out of mind, was good the season prior. Raymond Felton, obviously. Tim Frazier, Devin Harris, veteran. Jarrett Jack, veteran. Jameer Nelson, veteran. What about Tony Parker? Can't stay healthy.
I love Jarrett Jack. I have loved Jarrett Jack for years.
He's a guy that comes in and just kind of does his job and does it pretty well, seems like.
Can hit mid-range jumpers, controls the team, controls tempo. And that is a huge deal in the NBA. Can you control tempo? The whirlwind, the Tasmanian Devil is going to be off the court. You're going to come in. Just hold steady, bro. Yeah. Just keep her steady. And that's what Jarrett Jack. I've been crying for Jarrett Jack for 2. If it happened, just know somewhere in my house I'll be running around in my underwear. Like I'll be the happiest guy.
How old is Jarrett Jack? He's got to be 33, probably.
Yeah, 34. I just looked it up.
34.
He's my age.
And then the other, I would say the second biggest need, or maybe you can make a case it is the biggest need, is that backup center spot. We saw, and who knows, like depending on matchups, if you don't play Utah in the first round, maybe that isn't such a glaring hole. But God, the centers on the market right now, slim pickings.
Yep,
not much. I mean, you got guys that maybe you could throw some mid-level exception money at, like Alex Lynn. Brooke Lopez, who Presti has always loved. I don't know that he's going to see a lot of money this summer. That's an interesting one to me. Greg Monroe.
Yeah, that was the one that I had marked. That was a possibility if other things didn't work out. Maybe Greg Monroe was a guy that you could bring in.
That's a good one. Nerlens Noel, is he going to get money? Kyle O'Quinn, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What about Jaleel Okafor? Give him a shot. Any chance Zaza Pachulia is a Thunder next year?
No.
Hell no.
Zero chance?
I think they bring him in for an interview, and Russ goes, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, seriously.
See ya.
I can be having someone that ugly on the team anyways. You want to get some Twitter questions?
I do not. I actually have
Oh, no.
an update.
Oh,
not
no.
anything official or anything like that, so don't get too excited.
Paul George, Oklahoma City confirmed.
No, not confirmed. There was a Reddit post earlier today that we posted on Twitter.
Okay.
From a guy called Splash Onyo.
Yeah.
And he talked about there being this exclusive event this weekend. So we just got a DM a little bit ago
Oh, no.
from a guy
We got
who
some inside
actually
info.
was invited to this specific event. I can't say his name, but it's a summer hype house party for Russ this Saturday that would correlate with that Reddit post.
Huh.
So it's possible, maybe, this all is tied back to PG.
So this is what we're saying, that this is the event that was being spoken of.
It does seem like the event is real because I see there's an actual email with the invite that I got.
Ooh.
So it's a Russell Westbrook summer house hype party.
So are we invited?
I don't believe so. I'm going to take this picture of
It
an
seems
invite,
like an invite.
and pretend that I can get in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, just
but
show it at
there's
the door. Look, we're
nobody's
invited.
going to be. Nobody's. That doesn't mean Russ is going to be there.
There's
It just says that it's a party. That's just what they're using. There's no
That's-
way.
that's the,
This is anywhere you want to
this
be.
could be anywhere.
There's
It could
no
be
way.
nothing, but it could be something.
That's June 30th, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So,
That's what it says.
That, I don't know, like the day before free agency starts or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show up.
Or the moratorium.
The
or
only
whatever.
requirements are baby oil, blindfold. That's the way
Silly
you get
string.
into this party.
Silly
yeah.
string.
You
It's
have to
getting
bring
real
all of
creepy.
those items you can get in. Don't go to that
I'm
party.
in.
There's no address,
I'm
so I
in.
can't
Yeah.
get there.
No, we're all going. We're all going.
All
What's
those
this?
things
Yeah,
are all those things are my minivan right
Let's
now.
do these Twitter questions.
Tweet,
All right.
tweet, 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 tweet.
Oh,
Well, yeah, no, I got it. I was expecting a bed. Now I'm like thrown off.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just like, where's the music?
Yeah, we need music.
Yeah, it just.
There you go.
I like it.
How's that?
Okay, from Big Is 23 producer. Should OKC go after Omri Caspi and or bring back Doug McDermott, especially so you don't feel as bad about the Melo trade?
Talked about McDermott. I don't know about Caspi.
Nah, I'm not
I'm out
there.
on Caspi.
No Omar.
All right. Let's see. Moving on to Jared White at Jared KW13. Who should OKC target with their max player or their tax player MLE? He brings up. We already talked about Doug McBuckets, but Hazanja was who he brought up from.
Hazonia?
Yeah. I don't know how to say his name.
It's
I gotcha.
It's Herzegovina, whatever.
Yeah, Hertz not gonna work here anymore.
Bosnia Herzegovina. There we go.
I say no thanks on Hazonia.
yeah. I think
That's
you
just
get-
my answer to all these. No.
Well, you can get better value from the other guys. I feel like that we talked about.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Thunder Radar bringing up Lance Stevenson, obviously, which we've already talked about. What about Lance Thomas? There we go. There's a guy.
Lance Thomas. Yeah.
My favorite memory of Lance Thomas in that year where everybody was injured. Your fifth guy that was announced that was the starter was Lance Thomas.
Yeah, I remember. So the big thing was right after that game, because it was so out of the blue that Lance Thomas started, and the Sports Animal did not have, like, they didn't have Lance Thomas announcing his own name, and so they had someone from the station just got in front of a microphone like, number 42, Lance Thomas, just like the
Oh,
whitest
no.
guy they could find. It was great.
Lance Thomas might be the most normal guy in the NBA.
Yeah, I can see it.
There's a Carmelo guy too, so maybe there's the link, and he is gonna be here next year.
Is he a free agent?
I don't know.
I
I think he just didn't. He just get some.
Yeah, he's not a free agent.
He just got something from the
Yeah.
Knicks.
I like how we're talking about Lance Thomas instead.
The gift basket.
Very extensively.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. From Alec_Simples, how would you guys feel if we traded Melo for Blake Griffin?
Ain't happening, Alex Simples.
Hell no, it's not
Sounds
happening.
great.
He's going to win a championship in Detroit.
I mean, I don't know why Detroit would do that. Do you,
man.
but as a Pistons fan, did you like that move?
Yeah, I did. I celebrated Blake History Month.
Mm.
They were doing really well for the first couple of weeks.
They were.
And then it just
Yeah, bottomed out.
From
It'll be interesting to see it go forward, though.
From Wesley at Mr_Wesketball. Interesting. If PG resigns with OKC, could you see Russ and PG trying to recruit LeBron by opting into the final year of his contract and forcing a sign and trade? I mean, they'll
it
try.
would have to happen by Saturday. He would have to opt in by Saturday. So
I asked this question on Twitter. Listen, you realize, Thunder fans, if you get LeBron James,
Adams.
you're losing Steven Adams.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes,
and probably
absolutely.
Andre Robertson at that point
Maybe.
as well. I mean, to make the money work, you're getting really close.
Mm-hmm. You can maybe
Depending on-
use Abrinas and Patterson instead, yeah.
Yeah, but would they? Is that something that they would actually want? At that point, you also have to look at is Cleveland, what does Cleveland actually want in that situation as well? So
A little bit. Although the leverage would lie with LeBron, but
a little, yeah.
Kevin Love's team. It'll finally be Kevin Love's
Yeah.
team. My team, damn it.
oh, that'd be interesting.
Can we bring Jeff Green back with LeBron?
I guess.
Just
Is
for
that
good old times?
The Timberwolves East at that point. Kevin Love going with
Oh no,
bring Rubio in.
he ain't the same.
From that guy at Mr. Not18.
No, it's that guy.
Update on the tattoo. Ooh.
Oh God. So Jerry, to tell you about this, we have a bet going that I made in the middle of last year that Paul George was gone. He's leaving, and if he stays, I'll get a tattoo dedicated to the situation of him staying. Bad idea because it kind of feels like he's got he might say. And
It's happening.
so that's the update. Is that it feels like we ought to start deciding.
Yeah.
What this tattoo is gonna be.
What do you think, Jerry? Anything just off the top of your head about what the tattoo should be?
I mean, it needs to look like a rated PG-13 or something like that.
Ooh.
Like
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Put it on my butt.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an R-rated butt.
Yeah, it's very kid friendly.
We just have to wait.
Okay, no.
That was not the thing.
I meant there's no hair on my butt.
No.
Okay, like
It's
that's
getting too
somehow
far.
you made it work.
You can bring your kid if you want to. But, okay.
yeah,
All
no.
right.
Moving along.
Just wait for
This
the,
has been fun, guys.
Oh God.
just wait for the denouement of the PG documentary. I've been waiting to use that word all this
I've
time.
never heard of that word before.
It's the finale, usually the third act of something.
Ah.
Yeah.
No, nice.
So, from Dr. Rabbit at Drummer Rabbit, our boy. With PG's fishing tourney in LA this August and all these teams fishing for FAs like LeBron, PG, Kawhi, do y'all fellas have any good fishing stories? Hashtag NBA offseason.
First of all,
Love you,
no
Caleb.
one has any good fishing stories.
Well, one time I sat there and fished.
Yeah.
Didn't catch any.
Yeah.
And then I left.
Lost your pole.
So, fun fact, if you run an electrical current through the water,
Oh, God.
you stun the crap out of fish. They're a lot easier to catch. That's also how you do population analysis and stuff. That's what I do.
I
for
love
work.
fishing. I really do. You go to
Really?
the back of the market, you get whatever.
Yeah.
Grouper, trout, whatever.
no, that's so good.
Whatever's on sale.
That's noodling.
Just go get just grab it.
Hey, there's a place in Seattle, the Pike Place Market. They'll just throw,
Throw it
it
at you, yeah. We should go. Well, you know what? Whenever Thunder go play, whoever is in Seattle, is that not a thing?
Oh,
No.
God.
Justin, pick your
Isn't it the
next
Thunder?
favorite one, and then we'll run through these notes, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Okay. Then I have to read stuff.
Yeah, pressure's on.
Oh, man.
Oh, how about this one? If PG leaves, do we all get marijuana cards?
Yeah.
Fair. That's a fair
I did.
compensation.
I asked this on Twitter. Not if you don't mind. I actually asked this on Twitter. Would you have voted no on 788 if you knew Paul George was going to stay? If you did,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it would have been. Does it get proposed again the next year, the following?
Then it's okay.
Yeah.
I
I've
didn't
got a
know-
real quick one.
I didn't know 788 had a 1-1.
Real quick one, Jason.
Real quick one that's maybe not great to do right now. Aaron Yount from YouTube asks, are Lakers fans the most delusional fans in professional sports?
Well,
I don't
It's
know.
dangerous to answer.
We'll
at the
find out,
moment.
I guess.
It's-
Yeah, I'm not
it's
going to
dangerous.
answer that.
I was gonna say by July 2nd it'll either be Thunder fans or Laker fans.
That's true. That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Let's run through these real quick.
Please hold.
Notes.
Toronto Raptors are hiring Oklahoma City Thunder assistant coach Adrian Griffin as a lead assistant on Nick Nurse's staff. League sources tell Yahoo. I don't know why I said that part. I think I copied the tweet. Thunder are losing assistants left and right. It is a little weird, right? That's a little strange.
He wasn't really a part of a core staff. He's only been around for a little bit, so.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has signed a contract extension through the 2023-2024 NBA season. Sorry, Justin, your boy's going to be around a little longer as the shapeshifter.
You upset?
Wait, what? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Don't worry about it. According to Royce Young, Russell Westbrook is aware of the notion that other players don't want to play with him.
Except PG does, right?
We're going to find
Did
out.
you watch part two?
He said he was comfortable.
We're doing. The Thunder are the first franchise in NBA history to draft eventual MVPs in 3 straight seasons. They were already the first franchise in NBA history to do it back-to-back with Kevin Durant.
If I have my math correct, that means Reggie Jackson next year MVP, correct?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Right?
Was he 2012?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Am I?
Or, not
2010.
2010. Was he 2010? I'll look.
No,
real
he
quick.
was later. This was like
No, I think he's 2010.
Was it
2010? Because no, I think he's 2011.
We got like Cole Aldrich in a trade. Whoever we drafted,
Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so Eric Bledsoe, MVP next year.
I believe Oklahoma City is the only one to actually draft 3 MVPs, like
Ever
period,
at
maybe.
all?
Yeah,
That was true as well.
Oh wow, another.
Also depressing.
Okay. All right.
Happy 34th birthday to Raymond Felton this week. He joins Jerry in the 34th. Russell Westbrook won the Best Style Award at the 2017-18 NBA Awards Show. Did you guys watch that?
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Did not.
Did you regret it afterwards?
I mean, it is what it is, and they listen. Jocks have no sense of humor.
Yeah, bad.
It's the jocks who mess it up. It's the crowd, and the crowd is the NBA players.
That makes sense.
So
that makes sense. Where are we at here? The NBA has raised the available credit line of owners to $325 million, a $75 million increase that could soften the impact of higher team payrolls and luxury tax penalties next season. This thing could be beneficial to the Thunder, but it could also, on the flip side, be beneficial to Golden State and Houston and Cleveland and these other teams that the Thunder are competing with.
Listen to John Hamm talk about it, though. It's a loan.
Yeah.
And it's a loan from the league, and obviously it's a credit card, and so you want to stay away from it unless you absolutely need it.
Yep. Russell Westbrook had the 9th best-selling jersey in the NBA this past season, and the Thunder had the 9th best-selling merchandise. There you go, PG. Join it. Top 10. LeBron, according to Stephen A. Smith, has texted Kevin Durant about joining him in L.A. What if this happens? If Kevin Durant goes to L.A., hurt his reputation or make it better, or does it just stay the same?
It does nothing.
I think it's damaged as it's just gonna stay damaged. He pretty much ruined everything.
What is Kevin Durant's reputation?
Not good.
Well,
it's not great.
Well, I think that it's
He's a
not as
dick.
good as it could be, as far as like he's never going to be valued at what he probably should be as a player because of going to Golden State and winning the titles with them instead of with someone else. I think that's just kind of what's going to be a stigma attached to his name.
He's a dick.
He would only he'd be the second best player on that team. I don't think he'd go for that.
No, he's already the second.
That's a good point.
What?
That's a good point.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's true though.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. YouTube is where you can find us. Watch us live or on demand. Thanks to Jerry Ramsey for joining us. Yeah, thanks for being here. You can follow him at TV's Jerry on Twitter. Follow us at OKC Thunderheads. Justin's over at Thundertie. iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. Anywhere podcasts are found, you can find us there. OKCThunderheads.com. We just had a new Mello article come out, right?
Yeah.
Something covering the kind of the breakdown of what to look for in the Mello, him being a part of the Thunder going forward. Pretty interesting. Give it a read if you haven't yet. We'll be back next week with a new one, and we'll be at Summer League next week.
Indeed.
So we'll catch you guys then. Till then, as always, Thunder up.
You gotta do it.
Jason, wave the camera.
He's busy. Oh, I got a piece of, I guess.